In this episode, I tell you about the things that you should take with you when you go to a gaming convention. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying to yourself, why is Uncle Adam down in the nerd bunker on this camera with not a great microphone and the lighting is janky? Like, what's going on? Well, it's a long story that ends up with a good portion of my equipment being locked in an office and me not thinking clearly enough to bring it home with me. And I still could have filmed and it would have been fine with the other stuff in the studio, except that all of my memory cards are also locked in that office. So I couldn't do anything with my equipment except for this one camera, which can transmit via Wi-Fi from this to the computer. So so that's just a nutshell, so we're up to speed with what's my Thursday is like. Anyway, so I'm talking about what it is you want to take with you when you go to a gaming convention. I've been to plenty of gaming conventions. As it happens to turn out, when this video is published, it's during Gen Con 2016. Gen Con 2016 starts Thursday, which was actually today as I'm filming this, and then it goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's the biggest convention in pretty much for gaming in the entire country, and it's a big deal. I was there last year. I've been there in the past. I've been going pretty much since 1993, so I've got a lot of background into conventions like that. Also conventions like Adepticon, which I've talked about ad nauseum on this channel and how it's my favorite convention. All of these things have something in common. When you go and you are going to stay overnight at a convention, if you're just making a day trip to a convention, some of the stuff that I'm going to tell you about that you should take isn't going to make any sense. You're not going to need it. But if you're going on a longer excursion, staying in a hotel room, staying in someone's house, whatever you're doing, staying in your car, I wouldn't suggest staying in your car, but going on a trip and hanging out and staying at the gaming convention, there's things that might be rookie mistakes if you don't bring them. So I'm here to help you and to tell you so you don't make those rookie mistakes. Take this from an old man. When you go to a convention, you want to bring along aspirin, ibuprofen, whatever kind of pain reliever that you generally like. You're going to want to bring along some Pepto-Bismol. No one wants to have fun at a gaming convention with an upset stomach. I actually years ago got sick to my stomach and indigestion and all kinds of problems during Gen Con. And I was in the hotel room for most of the day on Saturday, and that sucked. That's right. So don't be me. Don't be that guy. And so make sure you bring yourself some medicines. Even if you're not a guy who takes pills all the time or whatever, just bring it just in case. You don't even have to bring a lot. Just bring some. Put it in a little baggie or, in a bottle or whatever. Just bring it, because even if you might end up feeling just fine throughout the entire convention, somebody's going to be like, oh, I got a headache from the noise, or oh, whatever. And then you could be like the good guy and be like, I got some ibuprofen back in my room. Now, don't lure them back there for weird, but just be like, oh, hey, I've got some ibuprofen maybe in my bag, something like that, which is going to lead me into the next thing. You want to bring a bag, something to carry your stuff in as you're walking around during the convention. Now, that seems like a very obvious thing, and it basically is. But the type of bag you bring is super important. Something that, in my mind, that you can sling over one shoulder, like a messenger type bag, something that you can keep control of. I cannot tell you how many times I've been walking along through Gen Con and some guy with a humongous backpack who is completely not knowing what the backpack is doing, independent of him, is like, oh, look, Pokemon or whatever, and turns and hits you and in the face or in the, and just, it sucks. Being hit with a giant backpack full of RPG books is never fun. So bring a bag to carry stuff. You'll find freebies, you'll find things, you'll buy stuff, and you want to carry things, and that's cool, but do not bring a huge behemoth with which you will smite others. Also, the bigger your bag is that you carry around, the more you're going to give yourself some sort of spinal injury. You don't need to carry everything that you've ever touched in your life in the backpack. You could bring some stuff, head back to the room, dump off your purchases, come back. Just keep doing that. You know, the exercise is good for you. You know, keep some things that you need with you in the bag, like the aforementioned medicines and such. But just don't carry a giant, huge backpack and try to kill people with it, or unintentionally kill people with it, because that is seriously the worst. And talk to people who've been at Gen Con, especially the last couple of years, where the attendance has blossomed, and it's difficult to get down rows when everyone's carrying a 65-pound backpack. Just take my word for it. Now, there's another kind of bag that you should bring, though, but don't bring it to the convention floor. Bring it to your hotel. I'm going to hang on a second. So I got this at IKEA. It's pretty thin. It's a little tiny blue plastic bundle. It's got some straps. You can get bags like this, whatever. Put it in your luggage. Put it wherever you need to put it. Slide it in there. Carry it. Don't take it out. Just leave it in your luggage until the last day. When you get done with the convention, now you have to go home. Now, if you're like me, you're a bad person and you have purchased probably far too many games while you're at the convention. You know, you went there and you're like, I'm just going to buy a couple of things, and instead you bought a dozen things or more. Now, that's great. When you bought this game, you picked it up, you loved it, you brought it back to the hotel room, and you dumped it off to go buy more games, which you would also love. But then on Sunday, when you have to leave, now you have to carry all of those game children or whatever back to your, to the airport, to your car, whatever you have to do. And that's when all of a sudden this bag becomes super important. Now, this bag doesn't look very big, but I can do this and then do this and unfold it like that. You could fit a toddler, maybe two toddlers in here easy, like live ones, just wiggling around on the whole thing. So as far as like board games or miniatures games and stuff like that, you can fit a ton of stuff in here. I could probably lift this. I know a couple of guys I could lift with this bag. So just my point is, I'm going to put that down there and then get rid of the cat hair. My point is that, yeah, you want to bring a big bag, thinking ahead. There's nothing worse than trying to leave the hotel with one of those carts they give you to truck your luggage around and having a leaning tower of games just wiggling back and forth as you or the porter or whoever is pushing it down the hall, and seeing those brand new boxes that you just bought just tumble off and all the corners get smushed. Everybody hates that. So don't do that. Bring something so you can carry your newfound purchases back home with you safely. You'll really be glad you did. Things happen at conventions. That's obvious, but the things that I'm talking about is sometimes you drop a taco in your lap. Sometimes somebody throws up on you. Sometimes you throw up on yourself. That's never happened to me, but things can happen. And so you want to make sure to bring some extra clothes. Things can happen to your underwear. I'm just going to leave it right there. So you're going to want to bring some extra underwear. Bring some extra clothes. Bring some extra underwear. Also, bring, if you can, like a little tiny emergency sewing kit. Because sometimes, yeah, you brought an extra pair of shorts, but like if you bust a button off or if you get a hole, just fix that stuff up with a little bit of sewing kit. Think a little bit like an apocalypse prepper. Don't go overboard, because then you're bringing far too many things to the convention. But think ahead and go, yeah, okay, I'm bringing some medical supplies. I'm bringing some sewing kit stuff. I mean, that's all important stuff. Bring enough clothes. Look at the weather before you go. Sometimes when you go to Adepticon in March, it is 2 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Other times it's 52. So you don't know. So plan, look ahead, but even then, plan just in case. Maybe I should bring a parka or whatever, that kind of thing. But plan ahead with your coverings, because nobody likes a naked gamer for the most part. Convention food is almost always really expensive. So here's what you do. You bring yourself some snacks. Granola bars. I've done a video pretty recently about granola bars. I think I'm pointing in the right corner. And about how to use the wrappers, for covering up the salata bases. So you bring your granola bars, because I know, like me, you love granola bars. It's a great little thing. You can throw a bunch of them into a bag and you can walk around. And then if you're a bit peckish, you could pay $12 for a hot dog, or you could potentially instead, nosh on a couple of granola bars and be good to go until dinner time or whatever. But think about that stuff. Do not bring eggs. Do not bring things which are perishable. Granola bars can take a lot of damage, so bring some of those. You can put them in your bag. Another thing to bring, like gum, because you're going to be talking to a lot of people, and sometimes, you've eaten some things. Maybe you did eat the nachos that cost $26, and now you've got jalapeno breath. And so, just some gum is also a good idea, because you're going to be talking to people you haven't seen in a long time, people at booths, they don't want to be getting that in the face all the time. So do everyone a bit of favor, including your teeth. Probably get something that's, gum, so whatever, just help. It'll help you out. The last three things I'm going to talk about quickly are all kind of related to your hotel room. Number one is bring a power bar, aka a surge protector. One of those things you plug in the wall and it's got a line full of extra little plugs, and you can, because nowadays, especially if you're staying in a hotel room with like anywhere from 1 or 2 or 6 other, humans, everybody's probably got a cell phone and everybody needs to charge it. And so sometimes hotel rooms have 3 plugs in the entire, establishment. So you bring in a power bar, and now you can have multiple plugs, and they'll plug in a bunch of stuff, and now people think that you're a hero because you were, again, thinking ahead. It's all about thinking ahead. So bring some sort of surge protector, power strip, power bar, whatever you want to call it, plug it in, and you can charge all your stuff, or you and all your friends' stuff, and, they'll probably thank you for it. Even though game conventions are a ton of fun, there are times when there will be downtime. There will be times when you are maybe like in the bathroom for a while, or maybe you're in between games in the hall and you don't want to go back into the dealer area, and you're just going to be sitting around for a while. So sometimes it's a good idea to throw into your bag a paperback, something to read, something to take up a little bit of time. Or if you're like me, you like ebooks, so you've got it on your phone. So then it's just really easy to just be like, well, I got 10 minutes until this next game of whatever starts. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to read my paperback. And that helps a lot, because then it can help to kill time. I mean, people watching is totally fun at gaming conventions. It really is. But sometimes, just being able to like take your mind off it, kind of center yourself, calm yourself a bit, read a book, it's not a bad idea. One of the last thing has saved my bacon. I cannot even tell you how many times, seriously. Again, more often than not, you go to a convention and you go with other people. Sometimes you go with 5 other people, and you're all staying in the same room, and you're all, bigger, beefier males, and most of you snore like bandsaws. That's the worst when you're the last guy to go to sleep, or even worse is if you've been completely asleep but somebody starts to snore so loudly that it wakes you out of a completely sound REM sleep, because you'll never get back to sleep again. So the way to combat that has saved my bacon, as I've said, I don't know how many times, good earplugs. These are made, and again, these guys aren't sponsoring me or anything. It's a company called Max, MACK''S, as in these are owned by a guy named Mac. So Max earplugs. They are silicone, and you peel them out of the package, and they're just a squishy ball, and you turn them into a sphere. You just knead them and work them until they get into be turning into a sphere, and then you just press them into your ear. Don't make them into a cylinder and try to get it into your ear canal. You just press them flat like a big piece of clay, and you just press and press and press and press, and that's it. You put them in both ears. You can sleep on your side with these, like a normal foam earplug that you would stick in. You try to sleep on that, it's going to be poking you in the brain, and you don't need that. With this, you can sleep on your side comfortably, and it works astoundingly well. A friend of mine, her husband snores a lot, and she told me about these, and I'm like, well, geez, maybe I should take some of these with a gaming convention. And man, are they killer. They are so good. Getting a good night's sleep is also super important to having fun at the convention. So being able to sleep through all of the buzzsaws and the, when you take the cork out of a lake, like Lake Erie, and then it gurgles and makes horrible noises until the entire thing drains. You don't want that going into your ear while you're trying to sleep. So you just put one of these babies in there, and and one in each ear is the best way to do it. And it works like a charm. So that's pretty much about it with this kind of weird, janky, vaguely impromptu episode. To those people who are at Gen Con right now and for some reason are bored enough maybe to actually be watching one of my videos, hey, hope you're having a good time. I appreciate, the view. But I think that some of you are probably maybe watching this and going, at Gen Con going, yeah, I probably should have brought the earplugs or whatever. So maybe next year. But if you're going to a convention sometime soon, Adepticon's coming up in the spring, and I'm sure there's lots of other conventions all around the world that you might want to travel to. Write this stuff down. Take a look at it. And also, if you've got something that you think that I've missed, because you're a veteran of going to conventions, let me know in the comments. Let me and all the other viewers know in the comments below other things that you think are a good idea to take to gaming conventions. Now, obviously, I didn't mention bringing games or dice or, a tape measure, because that stuff's all kind of obvious. This is all stuff that, rookie mistake, you forget to bring. Oh, I only brought the one pair of underwear. No, I didn't bring any deodorant, or, that kind of stuff. Don't be that guy. Plan ahead, and you'll be glad you did.